This is my vocation story is nothing. It's nothing earth-shattering. It is kind of weird. I came into the church. I'll go back to the beginning in a second, but I came into the church basically because of sin, because of lying, because of premarital sex, and there's one other sin in there. I can't remember what it is. So, but I will tell it to you. I think it can be a little. I can talk about all this just because I was a heathen then, and it's a great conversion story to go from where I was before, not necessarily where I am now, but still, but where the possibility of where I can be. I was born in 1965. My mom and dad were lifelong Southern Baptists. My dad was a deacon in the church. We were there every day. The doors were open. If you're a convert, you know what that means. Wednesday night prayer meeting, Sunday morning Sunday school, Sunday morning church. You go out to eat, come back Sunday night for prayer meeting. I was involved in all the youth activities, all the stuff like that. So same thing. That kind of carried on to influence me just by virtue of showing up. I didn't have a choice. It always amazes me when parents say, "Oh, I'm trying to get my kid to go to church." Like, are you kidding me? Like, you take your kid to church. I don't have a choice in the matter. I didn't have a choice in the matter. But as soon as I had a choice in the matter, I went to college, stopped. Didn't set foot in a church probably for a good 6 years until, unless it was for a fraternity brother's wedding or for a funeral, and that was it. So didn't practice my faith. Like I said, I was a heathen. I might have been a Southern Baptist, but I did not act like it. So college was crazy. Avoided all things religious or spiritual. Didn't care one little bit. Didn't even think about it. Then after I graduated from the University of Kentucky with a degree in communication, the reason I got that degree was because there was absolutely no math involved. So that's ironic. I'm now in charge of church finances, so that's why I've got Christine Lucian. So and so then I took a job. I was in the hotel business for about 9 years. I started out working for the Hyatt in Lexington in college, and then after I graduated, I went on and continued in hotel management. In 1990, good Lord. In 1990, I got transferred to Cincinnati, and I was at the Hyatt there in Cincinnati. And a girl that I used to date in high school, she lived there, and so we were still friends. And so she was showing me around town. She went to this Presbyterian church there in Cincinnati, so I started going to church with her, and it was completely different, right? If you've been, the pastor was, he had a doctorate, and so he was an excellent preacher, but a lot different preaching than I was used to from a country preacher. A lot less hellfire and brimstone. If you do this, you're going to go there, as opposed to, this is a better way to live your life. So I was drawn to that. I thought that was really interesting. So I was there in name only. I went, I went, pretty much most weekends, unless I was too hungover that I didn't go at all. But didn't really worry about it. So and in the hotel business, that happens a lot. And I worked a lot. In hotel business, you work weekends and holidays, so I wasn't always able to go. But then, so I kind of stuck with that, and then I left the hotel business, bartended for a few years, and this is in the mid-1990s. Then I kind of started getting into, I started doing a martial art called Aikido, and that kind of led me into Eastern philosophy and Buddhism. So I wouldn't say I was a practicing Buddhist, but I was certainly very interested in the theology, so to speak, and definitely in the spirituality and the philosophy of it. So that kind of got me used to got me semi-comfortable with starting to be still, and if not necessarily to pray, but to meditate. So then after when I left, I got a job working for my brother-in-law, which is never a good thing. Started working for a company called Closet Mate. They make that white wire shelving, and I was transferred from Cincinnati to Baltimore, and I was a district sales rep up there. Didn't go to church any time at all. I was in Baltimore. Didn't really matter because I just didn't care. So that goes on for a little bit. Then I get transferred from Baltimore. Then I get transferred up to New Jersey. There was a little Presbyterian church up the street from where I lived. Went there once or twice because it was close. And then I got transferred back to the corporate office in Ocala, Florida. didn't care then, there either, had no concerns about that whatsoever. Spirituality meant nothing to me, religion meant nothing to me, didn't care. So then I got transferred up to, I went to work for another company in, I lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Was there for a bit, still just, you know, my theology was career, it was advancing and making as much money and trying to get all the stuff that I was told that was going to make me happy my entire life. So I just kept working and working and working and working. Then, and then I ended up, I started working for a company called Schlage Lock. That's actually how you pronounce it. In case if you ever hear it differently, it's wrong. So I started working for them, and my boss then was one generation off the boat, Irish Catholic. His mom and dad were like I said, off the boat. And so he was Catholic, so I would every once in a while, now I'd never stepped foot in the Catholic Church before. We did take that back. One time we did, we went to visit when I was, as like a youth exchange. So I had no idea what Catholics were about. Hating Catholics was not one of the things that I was taught to do. I was taught to be prejudiced, you know, against other people, places, and things when I was growing up, but never to hate Catholics, which is unusual in the South. So I dated a Jewish girl. My parents didn't even seem to care about that. So anyway, so I was very ecumenical and interfaith, at least for that. So then at some point, so I get offered a new position down for Shaw Industries, a flooring manufacturer down in Dalton, as a product development manager, product line development manager. And so I took that job, moved from there down to Chattanooga. My mom and dad were in London, Kentucky at the time, and my sister, niece, and nephews, and aforementioned brother-in-law were in Atlanta. So mom and dad were getting old. Dad was dying of cancer. We knew he was going to go sometime soon. So Chattanooga, you know, was a good place in between. So I was in Chattanooga for about a year. I got there in 2002 and started dating this girl in 2003. Last girl I ever dated, and when I tell you the story, it will tell you why it was the last girl I ever dated. But she was a bad influence. She was a restaurant manager at a nice restaurant in downtown Chattanooga. She and I met, and through a mutual acquaintance, and she and I started going out. And this is the part that is kind of PG-13, but I'll tell you. So she and I started going out, and you know, I was, like I said, I was a heathen. I didn't care. You know, we were sleeping together, and after a little while, I started to realize that she was crazy. And that's what all guys say about their ex-girlfriends. This one was literally crazy. First date we ever went on. I should have known from there and should have got out, but I was too stupid. We went up. I just achieved the second thing that I was striving for. I just bought a brand new 2002 BMW 325i. I was very excited about that. So she said, well, hey, what are you doing on Sunday? I said, nothing. Well, you want to go up? My brother works up at an outfitters off the Ocoee. Do you want to go up and meet him, meet the family? I said, sure. So, you know, you say anything when you're dating somebody at first, you say yes to everything. So we jumped in the car, drive up there, meet her brother and her sister. It was nice. And then we get ready to come back, and she's like, well, hey, do you mind if I stop by and see a friend? I'm going to need you to turn it off right now, just for a second.